Part 1. The Forbidden Truth. Night is honest in a way daylight never is. In the dark, the world drops its masks and you can finally see the truth everyone spends their lives avoiding. A forbidden truth, a truth you were never meant to hear. You are not poor because you have nothing. You are poor because someone taught you to kneel. Society prefers you on your knees. Quiet, obedient, grateful for crumbs. They never tell you this directly. They simply reward your silence and punish your ambition until you begin to mistake submission for virtue. You call it humility, but it is not humility. It is psychological sedation, and the ones who taught it to you knew exactly what they were doing. Because a man who kneels is easy to manage. A man who doubts himself is simple to control. A man who believes he was born to wait will never learn to claim. This is the truth the powerful hide behind velvet curtains. Poverty is engineered in your mind long before it appears in your life. And the moment you believe the story they wrote for you, your fate stops belonging to you. Machiavelli warned this centuries ago. He said men are so easily shaped by necessity that deception becomes effortless. The poor are not tricked by force. They are tricked by familiar stories. Stories that whisper you are nothing until someone grants you permission to become something. Stories that train your emotions to obey even in silence. But silence is not your enemy. Silence is theirs. Because silence lets you think. And thinking makes you difficult to control. They fear that. They fear the moment you realize how deep your chains go and how quietly they were locked around your mind. The moment you stop apologizing for wanting more. The moment you see scarcity not as destiny but as an illusion you inherited from those who surrendered before you. That moment is rebellion. Yet here is the paradox. Most men do not rebel. They cling to their chains as if losing them would mean losing identity. They prefer familiar suffering over unfamiliar strength. The cage becomes comfortable because someone else built the walls. And when someone else builds the walls, you never have to take responsibility for breaking them. But the deeper truth lies elsewhere. You were not born with these chains. You accepted them, slowly, quietly, internally. Not through force. Through repetition. They told you to stay humble. They told you to be grateful for crumbs. They told you to wait for your chance while they collected everything you were taught to wait for. They built their empires on your patience. And you called it fate. Machiavelli understood the cruelty of this design. He wrote that few ever know a man's true nature. But many are fooled by what he appears to be. The world sees your posture before it sees your bank account. It reads your eyes before it listens to your words. It decides your worth long before you have a chance to speak. Power is decided in the silence between breaths. You think you need wealth to rise. But kings were never made of gold. They were made of discipline, emotional distance, and a refusal to behave like prey. The poor man waits. The powerful man observes. The king calculates. And the moment you notice this, everything changes. You stop chasing sympathy because you realize sympathy is simply permission for others to look down at you. You stop projecting weakness because weakness attracts predators. You stop confessing your struggles like a child begging for comfort because every confession becomes a map someone will use against you later. Power grows faster in secrecy than in attention. Learn that. Inhale it. Feel how heavy the truth becomes once you stop running from it. The world does not pity the powerless. It feeds on them. And every time you announce your suffering, you announce to the world that you can be shaped, influenced, manipulated. You think you're asking for help, but you are really declaring that you can be controlled. This is why even when you have nothing, you must never think you are poor. Poverty of resources is temporary. Poverty of perception is fatal. A man with empty pockets can rise. A man with an empty mind cannot. Your bank account is not your enemy. Your posture is. You must understand the battlefield you were born into. Not a battlefield of swords or armies, but a battlefield of perception. Power lives in perception. Strength lives in invisibility. Sovereignty lives in silence. A man who controls how he is perceived controls his fate. A man who exposes his desperation hands over his destiny willingly. This is why the powerful appear calm even when they bleed. Why they speak slowly even when the world is collapsing. Why they rarely explain and never beg. They know what you do not yet understand. People obey the one who appears unshaken. When you stand steady, others lose their balance. When you speak less, others reveal more. When you refuse to react, others become predictable. This is not motivation. This is strategy. This is war. A war fought not on the outside, but in the shadows of your own mind. And if you do not rule that territory, someone else will. Someone already is. The night teaches you this. Its silence exposes the illusions you worship. Its darkness strips away the excuses you cling to. Its stillness forces you to face the truth. You are not weak. You were trained to feel weak. But training can be undone. Perception can be reshaped. Identity can be rebuilt. If this unsettles you, it means power was never a language you were taught to understand. But now you will learn. Quietly. Relentlessly. Dangerously. If you keep listening, you will never see yourself the same again. Part 2. The core narrative. There is a moment in every man's life when the mirror stops lying. A moment when you look into your own eyes and see not failure, not misfortune, but the shape of a mind that has been quietly conditioned to think small. Society calls it circumstance, but circumstance is only the stage. The real chains are invisible. You were taught to worship limits long before you learned to walk. They called it being realistic. They told you to fear risk, fear rejection, fear loss, but the truth is simple. The more a man fears, the more he can be guided like livestock. Fear is the leash, poverty is the pasture, and obedience is the slaughterhouse. Yet here is the deeper paradox. They never had to force any of this on you. You volunteered. You internalized scarcity until it felt like identity. You lowered your eyes whenever someone wealthier entered the room. You softened your tone so others would feel comfortable standing above you. You disguised defeat as humility. You pretended your silence was kindness when it was really fear of conflict. These are not flaws. They are habits. And habits can be rewritten. But to rewrite them, you must first confront the infection Machiavelli understood with terrifying clarity. Men allow themselves to be deceived because they want comfort more than truth. Comfort in routine. Comfort in despair. Comfort in blaming fate rather than confronting weakness. The world doesn't want you powerful. Powerful men don't beg. Powerful men don't follow. Powerful men don't entertain illusions built by others. This is why your suffering feels endless. Not because the world is cruel, but because you have been trained to interpret discomfort as failure instead of evolution. Look at history. The most dangerous leaders were not the loud, emotional ones. They were the ones who watched in silence and struck only when certainty aligned with opportunity. Silence was their sovereign territory. Distance was their weapon. Composure was their disguise. Julius Caesar walked into rooms as if he owned them while he was still a debtor drowning in loans. Napoleon carried himself like a ruler before he commanded even a platoon. And Machiavelli, writing in exile, understood kingship better than most kings who ever lived. These men did not rise because they were chosen. They rose because they refused to think like victims. And that is your first transformation. Stop kneeling internally. Even if your pockets are empty, your posture must be full. A calm gaze, a steady breath, a mind that does not cower before temporary conditions. But this truth leads to another, a darker one. People do not treat you according to your reality. They treat you according to your projection. If you project desperation, they offer pity. If you project weakness, they offer commands. If you project silence with intention, they offer respect. This is why the powerful cultivate mystery. Not noise, not spectacle. Mystery. A quiet confidence that forces others to guess. And guessing makes them fear miscalculation. Fear is leverage. This is not cruelty. This is equilibrium. The world has always been ruled by those who can unsettle others without raising their voice. Remember this when someone tries to provoke you. A man who cannot control his reactions cannot control his fate. Machiavelli said a prince must learn how not to be good when necessity demands it. What he meant is this. A man who cannot control his own nature will always be controlled by those who can. You must learn to step outside your emotions as if observing another creature entirely. Watch your anger rise and do nothing. Watch your fear whisper and stay still. Watch your impulses demand attention and deny them. Each moment of restraint is another brick in the throne you are building. Yet the deeper truth lies here. You cannot rise until you detach. Detach from approval. Detach from certainty. Detach from the illusion that someone will save you. Because the moment you stop needing, you start ruling. A man who needs nothing cannot be bribed. A man who needs no validation cannot be manipulated. A man who needs no comfort cannot be broken. This is what terrifies society the most. A mind that cannot be owned. They will call you cold. They will call you arrogant. They will call you cruel. But what they really mean is this: you are no longer easy to control. And the moment you stop playing their emotional games, you become unpredictable. Unpredictability is power. It keeps rivals cautious. It keeps opportunists distant. It keeps manipulators afraid of misreading you. Distance is not loneliness. Distance is sovereignty. Learn to stand alone. Learn to think without noise. Learn to remain unmoved when others panic. Because when chaos erupts, the calm man becomes the center of gravity. And people orbit what they cannot shake. There is a reason kings never rush. Rushing belongs to the desperate. Kings move slowly because their confidence bends the room around them. The poor man tries to prove his worth. The powerful man behaves as if his worth is obvious. And life rearranges itself to match that assumption. This is not fantasy. This is psychology. Dark psychology teaches that people measure you instantly, instinctively, subconsciously. Before you speak a word, they decide whether to treat you with caution or with dismissal. Your posture, your silence, your gaze, these form your political identity long before your accomplishments do. This is why power is performance. But performance becomes real once you embody it fully. So even when you have nothing, you carry yourself like a strategist. You speak less. You observe more. You calculate before reacting. Because kingship is not a crown. Kingship is composure. Yet there is still one truth you must face. A truth the weak fear more than poverty itself. Pain is the doorway to power. Not comfort. Not luck. Pain. Every betrayal sharpens you. Every humiliation teaches you who you are. Every loss removes illusions you should never have trusted. Pain is not punishment. Pain is information. Pain is clarity. Pain is the furnace where your softness burns and your discipline begins. The weak collapse under pain because they attach emotion to it. They see tragedy instead of training. They drown in self-pity instead of analyzing patterns. But the strong watch quietly. The strong connect dots. The strong rise sharper than before. Pain is the gate you must walk through alone. And once you do, you are no longer the same man. Because power is not given to those who avoid suffering. Power is given to those who can suffer without losing direction. The fire that melts glass hardens steel. You choose which one you are. When you reach this level of self-mastery, something shifts permanently inside you. The world stops intimidating you. People stop confusing you. Failure stops frightening you. Because once you control yourself, nothing external can rule you. And that is the beginning of sovereignty. If this part made you uncomfortable, good, it means your transformation has already started. Part 3. The ascent into sovereignty. There comes a night when the noise of the world fades. And in the silence, you hear something you were never trained to confront. A voice, steady, cold, unapologetic. It tells you the truth you spent your life avoiding. You were never powerless. You were simply undisciplined. Power was never kept from you by fate. It was kept from you by your own hesitation. The hesitation to claim, to confront, to evolve. The hesitation to walk alone. The hesitation to let go of the identity that kept you comfortable in your suffering. You clung to weakness because weakness was familiar. Strength felt foreign. But foreign is not the enemy. Foreign is the next version of you demanding to be born. Look around you. The world you fear is ruled by men who understand one principle. Control begins within and spreads outward like a shadow. He who cannot command himself becomes prey to anyone who can. That is why Machiavelli said a prince must learn how not to be good when necessity demands it. Not because cruelty is noble, but because self-control requires a brutal honesty most people avoid. If you do not understand your own darkness, someone else will weaponize it against you. The man who masters his impulses becomes untouchable. The man who does not becomes ornamental. A piece in another man's strategy. A pawn dressed in hope. Decorated with excuses. Yet the deeper truth lies here. Your life is not shaped by your conditions. It is shaped by what you tolerate. Every insult you let pass. Every boundary you fail to set. Every person you keep who diminishes your discipline. Every moment you betray your own goals in exchange for comfort. These are not small things. They are self-inflicted wounds. Men destroy their futures not through single catastrophic choices, but through 1,000 quiet concessions. And the world applauds these concessions as kindness, humility, patience, virtues that sound noble but decay your sovereignty from the inside. Remember this whenever you feel guilty for choosing yourself. The world never punished you for being weak. It punished you the moment you tried to stop being weak. Because power disrupts the balance that benefits the manipulators. Self-respect threatens the systems designed to feed on your insecurity. Discipline exposes the mediocrity of those who swear you should stay realistic. You must detach from these illusions completely. Detach from the idea that you owe others comfort at the cost of your own evolution. Detach from the belief that being disliked is danger. Detach from the fantasy that someone will choose for you the life you are too afraid to claim. A man who needs nothing cannot be controlled. A man who fears nothing cannot be stopped. And when you reach that point of internal dominion, something shifts permanently. You walk differently. You speak differently. You think differently. Not because you are pretending, but because your perception has become your armor. You no longer rush. Rushing is for the desperate. You no longer over-explain. Explanation is for the insecure. You no longer react to disrespect. Reaction is for the untrained. You move with the steady rhythm of someone who has already survived the worst and learned from it. The world begins to read your silence as authority. Your stillness as danger. Your distance as superiority. You do not demand respect. You create it. This is what men misunderstand about power. They think it requires domination of others. It doesn't. It requires domination of self. And once you rule yourself fully, the world adjusts to your presence without you lifting a finger. People become cautious. Opportunists become hesitant. Manipulators become confused. And those who underestimated you begin to question their judgment. Because the most intimidating force on earth is a man who can sit in a storm and remain unmoved. A man who listens instead of reacts. A man who speaks only when intention aligns with strategy. A man who no longer needs the world to confirm anything about him. That man becomes a sovereign. Not a follower. Not a pretender. Not a victim of circumstance. But a ruler who emerges from scarcity with a mind sharper than scarcity itself. Never think you're poor, even when you have nothing. Because poverty is not the absence of wealth. It is the absence of self-command. The absence of inner structure. The absence of the discipline that builds empires inside before they ever appear outside. You can lose money. You can lose people. You can lose comfort. But if you never lose command of your inner world, you will rise again, each time more calculated, more composed, more ruthless in your clarity. Kings are not born from blessings. Kings are born from pressure. From humiliation. From nights when the world strips you down until nothing remains except the core of who you truly are. And if that core is disciplined, then destiny bends. This is why suffering was never your curse. It was your education. Your shaping. Your initiation into the realm of those who do not collapse. You were forged in the fire that melts most men. You were sculpted by the forces that soften others into excuses. You are the proof that chaos births sovereignty when a man refuses to kneel. Remember this as you move forward. Do not chase applause. Do not chase validation. Do not chase safety. Chase nothing. Need nothing. Stand still and let the world adjust to you. Because the man who rules himself becomes the man who shapes reality. The man who disciplines his nature becomes the man others orbit. The man who refuses to break becomes the man others fear to provoke. If this final truth unsettles you, good, it means you are waking up. It means the chains you carried for years have begun to fall. It means the version of you who begged for sympathy has died. If you do not evolve now, the world will crush you. But if you rise now, With silence as your weapon and discipline as your crown, the world will kneel to the inevitability of your ascent. The throne you want already exists. It is waiting. It is watching. It is silent. Just like you will be. And now, the war for your power truly begins.